Welcome to this week's edition of SU Sports Spotlight. I'm your host, Jenna Horning, and joining me today is senior thrower on the women's track and field team, Maggie Boyer.
Hello.
Maggie, thank you for joining me today.
No problem.
So this past Saturday, you and the rest of the team traveled to Ithaca, New York, where you PR'd in weight and simultaneously broke your own school record. How did you prepare for that meet mentally and physically?
So I never thought about this before, but even before we're actually there, when we get on the bus, we're all like together as a team. I specifically choose a specific genre of music, like indie, like soft, or like honestly maybe dreamy vibes, kind of like just like calming myself down, letting me reflect, and be like, okay, this is what I'm doing today. Relax, you got this. Like, not right away going with like Metallica, because the moment I'm there, that's what I listen to.
Okay.
Or like just like any sort of rock genre.
That's awesome. So that like calm music just kind of helps you calm down.
Yeah, because of the long ride, get to relax, and then once I'm there, I'm like, boom! All right, get into action.
And kind of along with that, you mentioned 4 years, and then obviously doing it in high school. But with your 4 years here, with you being a senior on the team, you were on the team when the women won their first ever indoor landmark championship. How have you seen the women's team change and make progress since then?
Leading up to landmarks, I feel like things started changing very rapidly. Everyone was getting excited. Seeing the progress kind of changed everything for everyone, not just for me, but for like every other event that everyone does. So after landmarks, I feel like everyone was just very proud of themselves and each other, and they have learned to recognize that and really appreciate it. I appreciate it too. It's like, yeah, I want to do better now. Now that I see it, I feel it, you know?
Do you think this year there's like any difference in like the team energy or like anything like that?
Yeah, again, it kind of goes back to like the wave reference I was making, like with like every like new wave of freshmen, sophomore year. I mean, like you kind of get to see different types of personalities from like different like students. And I've definitely seen like a lot of funny students come in the past year, not afraid to be themselves. And I feel like that's definitely brought like the energy up, especially for even like the juniors and seniors.
And kind of speaking of indoor champs, there are 2 more meets until the landmark championship meet.
I know.
What would you say your goals are for champs for shot and weight?
I will continue my usual routine before I go to a meet. What keeps me together is constantly reminding myself, like, you know, how far I've come, knowing what I'm capable of, even if there's some days that I don't feel my best. I don't let those days weigh me down, because I know my worth. Yeah. And everyone else should know their worth. It's important to compartmentalize, you know, your strengths and your weaknesses, and realize your weaknesses, you can find a new strength in recognizing what those are. So, yeah.
And that kind of brings up like focusing on the moment.
Yep, exactly.
Like that.
And shout out to Chloe too, for helping. I want to shout out to Chloe for bringing the team together and like, you know, having routine and like determination, all those like good words, hope, bravery. I think those all tie together really well with the team.
And just a couple more questions for you. But looking back, maybe in your high school years, but also like currently at Susquehanna, who would you say has been your role model or your mentor, and how would you say they have helped you?
I feel like my role models change very often. I've grown up in track and field mainly relying on what I know and myself, and over time I've gotten more open to the idea of like accepting help from other people, especially from like the coaches. They've definitely helped me a lot in terms of like working with, you know, my anxieties and what I struggle with when I'm competing, or like just like everyday like practice and being with the team. My parents too, shout out to my parents. I always appreciate their support, and my best friends. They've always been a great role model to me. And I mean, is it weird I don't have a role model, like in terms of like actors or actresses, like nothing outside of that, just like, you know, people that I know and that I'm in the moment with, so.
It's awesome to have that supportive group around you. And my last question,
hit me with it.
So yesterday was National Girls and Women in Sports Day. What does it mean to you to be a female athlete?
Being a woman athlete means being proud of who you are. That's what I take from it. Just realizing that as a woman, you are capable of so much, And when you put that out there, people can recognize that and see that. And as a result of that, you recognize it yourself. And that's all I can really say about that.
Well, that's
Be proud of who you are.
That's
Embrace
amazing,
it.
Maggie. And I just want to thank you again for joining me today. And I wish you the best of luck in indoor champs
Me
and
too.
going into outdoor season. Thank
Yeah.
you. And that wraps up this week's episode of SC Sports Spotlight. I'm
Thanks,
your
guys.
host, Jenna Horning. And again, this is Maggie Boyer.
Goodbye.